For today's cup of coffee with Scream,
Cup of coffee.
Mercury has come back online.
Oh.
And we got the 3 days.
Is that a good thing?
I
Bad
don't
thing?
know. I don't know.
Because, like, it doing its thing, it screws up shit. Mercury screws shit up.
Well, it's especially weird, like 3 days before, 3 days after. And so when it's going retrograde and then when it's going, direct, that's usually how that goes. So it's not time to get out the party hats yet.
Love it.
And even with this is why I urge everybody to go and listen to Robert Phoenix, because he can explain a lot of things, especially there on X and stuff. And it's like I appreciate the fact that he's a shit poster. I really do.
And
then there's some of us that will just, pile on the rabbit with him.
I pray that this Mercury in retrograde, after it's over, that I find my wallet.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
This Mercury in retrograde has stole my wallet.
This one was
the phone, now
rough.
My wallet.
It was rough. I can't tell you. I mean, it's always, as far as wigginess with electronics and communications and travel, and that's just the general usual spiel. But this one was, whew,
yeah,
buddies, it was rough. So let's hope that something a little bit better is coming in.
Oh, I hope. Oh, I hope.
And of the news stories, because the news cycle is so insane right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it is just insane.
It's like, I don't understand how most people have not lost their minds at this point.
A lot of things.
Some have dropped off over the edge.
Yeah, you've got people dropping off the edge daily. But what is happening is stuff is being revealed. And that is just part of this season.
The fact that this country is run by one world government.
Yeah.
Run
it's
by
not just
fucking
ours.
Demonic lizards.
Yeah.
Lizards.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much so. And we don't know. Since the monkeypox was canceled, we don't know what the next thing's going to be.
Fuck.
But now I did see a very strange thing in the sky last night. And
alien, UFO, or UAP.
It was something. It was not a planet, because planets do not flash between red and white. Planes do not stay in the sky stationary for 10 or more minutes. And I will get the video. I had time to come back in the house, get my cell phone, try to video it, because it does not have one of these high-tech cameras on it.
No. Well, it's an older phone at this point.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I need to invest in another little camcorder or whatever, the video camera, whatever the hell they call it, because those were better. The one that I had that was great, that we recorded off of for years, and that the viewfinder finally went stupid.
Yeah. It's craziness.
It is brokenness. But to try to sit there and go, that's not an airplane. That's not a planet. What the hell is that?
UAP.
And so it's like
man-made flying object.
The video that I got of it, it's not that the object is moving, it's that I am moving. Because when you're zoomed out, every little breath, it goes all over the place. Yeah.
That's true.
So it's, and this is how you get the potato footage of these events.
Listen. Stuff like that wigs out the electromagnetic fields.
It could be. You very well may be correct on that.
And also, in some of these places, guess what? They don't got the best phones in the world. Seriously, they got that shit probably from the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Or not the Dollar Tree. The Dollar General.
Yeah.
The Dollar Tree has not started selling phones yet. So
I don't know whether they do or not since
they don't.
they've got... Okay.
They don't. I've checked.
He says with the voice of authority over there.
I've checked.
But it was odd. And so I will try to get that together over the next couple of days.
But the cameras on those phones, on those cheap phones, are not good. So that's why it's another reason potato quality.
Yeah. Well, what I've got is a Samsung, whatever, Galaxy something.
Mm-hmm.
But it is older at this point.
Yeah.
And I have it in one of those ballistic cases.
You do?
I know me. I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, once you drop those things, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
And I would rather not, because those things are expensive. And it takes years paying those off through Verizon. So
it does. It takes a long time.
But something else that takes many, many years. I found this story today and I thought, God, this is just absolutely insane. It's just added to the insanity. And this comes from Daily Mail and is by Matthew Phelan and was August the 28th of 2024. And that is the same night we're recording. Popular U.S. park as radioactive as Chernobyl, says an expert.
Wait, hold up. Let me pull that back up.
And I'm just going to read this for a little bit because it's, dude does a good job writing. And he says, a scenic hiking has been discovered to be dangerously contaminated with radiation. New tests have discovered that Acid Canyon, a popular hiking and biking trail near the birthplace of the atomic bomb Los Alamos, New Mexico, is still radioactive today at levels akin to the site of the Soviet Union's Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
It's like, yes. Let's let people live in something that can deform them.
That stuff doesn't just go away.
No.
It doesn't.
Just try to cover that shit up.
And it says the shocking contamination data collected in an effort led by biochemist Michael Kettner has galvanized public calls for posting official warnings across the trail. And Kettner, a professor at Northern Arizona University, told reporters, quote, I've never seen anything quite like it in the United States. This is an unrestricted area. It's just an extreme example of very high concentrations of plutonium in soils and sediments, and it's hiding in plain sight, end quote.
Yeah.
And
they're
says,
walking right on it.
Yeah, and pushing back on the alarming new recordings of this super weapons grade plutonium, the U.S. Department of Energy, the DOE,
loves it,
released a statement claiming the levels were very low and within the safe exposure range.
But what?
It says,
if it's close to Chernobyl range, that's not safe.
While outdoor enthusiasts may not be in immediate danger while traveling through Acid Canyon's Pine Tree Line Trail, Kettner emphasized that New Mexico state and local officials should warn visitors to avoid coming in contact with water in the area. The contamination, per his measurements, exceeds the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And it's not just the EPA, it's the U.S. EPA now.
Loves it.
Safety threshold by over 72%. Said water samples along the trail contained radioactive measurements as high as 86 picocuries per liter compared to the accepted EPA, because I'm not going to call it the U.S. EPA, levels below 50 picocuries. As in a,
PCI/L.
Mm-hmm. And it says that Kidder said, quote, all 4 water samples exceeded the Federal Environmental Protection Agency's relevant gross alpha standard and drew attention to an egregious water contamination problem mandating prompt U.S. EPA and or state intervention, end quote. Why did they just suddenly rebrand that?
That's a good question, because, it's just EPA. Since when was it U.S. EPA?
Right. They trying to rebrand everything. It says the biochemist also noted that high concentrations of plutonium in the canyon's water posed wider environmental risks to communities and habitats downstreams. And he said that under monsoon storm flow conditions, plutonium, which is poo, laden water and sediment flow through Acid Canyon and into Los Alamos Canyon and ultimately the Rio Grande. Okay? And he said, this is one of the most shocking things I've ever stumbled across in my life.
Well, I'd say it is, because it's that's a pretty big thing.
It says,
dude, you're walking on fucking radioactive land there, man.
Yeah, you can go home and glow in the dark. Radioactive
it would grow another appendage of some sort.
Radioactive plutonium in groundwater, Kidner noted, can be absorbed by plants where it enters the food chain via local vegetarian herbivores and is spread as airborne ash following increasingly common wildfires. Oh. And he partnered with Nuclear Watch New Mexico, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. Why did anybody need to know that? I guess they did need to know that it's not government funded. To gather samples this past July during a rainy season that often results in isolated downpours and storm water runoff coursing through the canyons and otherwise the dry areas there. And it says the water team ultimately tested let me start over on that. The water their team ultimately tested was flowing through Acid Canyon when these samples were taken. The work followed mapping done by the group earlier this year that was based on a Los Alamos National Laboratory database, including plutonium samples from throughout the area. Nuclear Watch's director, Jay Coughlin, said that this plutonium concentration at the heart of Los Alamos is not just a historical concern. Labs at the site, under the direction of Congress, the Energy Department, and the National Nuclear Security Administration, are right now gearing up to produce on the next generation of plutonium pits to update the U.S. nuclear weapons arsenal. Well, we've already poisoned stuff. Let's make more stuff so that we can poison more stuff.
Right. Let's make this as deadly as possible.
Yeah, and according to Coughlin, it said cleanup at Los Alamos is long delayed. Okay, whatever happened to that one place that was up north of us that the train derailed about a year or so ago? I haven't heard anything about any kind of cleanup up there. Have you?
No, not at all. None that has been released to the public in the news.
It says that he noted that the annual spending for the new plutonium pit work has shot up to nearly $2 billion in recent years, while the comparatively scant cleanup budget for the Los Alamos legacy waste is scheduled to decrease in the next fiscal year. Of course it is. Of course it is. Because we are in a period of time where insanity reigns.
Scant cleanup budget.
And it says what?
You know damn well that they could spend the right amount of money to get that all cleaned up and safe and still have a good pretty penny in their pocket.
Sure. It's a matter of priorities. and helping people is not one of their priorities. The DOE's Environmental Management Los Alamos Field Office issued a statement to the Associated Press this month, hoping to minimize the severity of the new findings. DOE asserted that the information presented by Kitchener and Nuclear Watch is consistent with department data that has been publicly available for years. The canyon's trails, they say, remain safe for unrestricted use by the public.
That's bullshit.
So this local
bullshit.
This local field office said DOE, quote, continues to collect and monitor sediment and water samples in the Acid Canyon area, and the results have consistently shown the levels of plutonium remain very low and well within the safe exposure ranges, end quote. Kitchener... Huh?
It's radiation.
Yeah. Kitchener, who has...
What level? Is what? Yeah. No radiation is safe for humans.
No, not really. Kitchener has long specialized in tracking the chemical fingerprints of radioactive materials, described the problem as not only a serious one, but a contamination issue that cannot be fixed simply or cheaply. He advised that, at the very least, local residents and visitors would appreciate being made aware of the facts and their own risk. And he said, quote, this warrants immediate postings and efforts by state and local agencies to warn people and their pets away from contacting Acid Canyon water. I think anything that's named Acid Canyon, maybe you don't go there.
Yeah.
It says from 1943.
Does the water glow?
Yeah, from 1943 to 1964, liquid waste from nuclear research at Los Alamos National Lab was piped into Acid Canyon, which was one of several tributaries that passed through San, whatever it is, Pueblo lands on the way to the Rio Grande.
Piped through.
While the federal government began a cleanup of the canyon in the late 1960s, it eventually transferred the land to Los Alamos County. Government officials determined in the 1980s that conditions were within the area, met DOE standards, and were protective of human health and the environment.
That's a lie.
And the DOE's Environmental Management Field Office pointed reporters to a 1918 DOE study that estimated the radiation dose to a person who might recreate in the canyon is less than 0.1 millirem per year. And according to the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the annual average dose per person from all natural and man-made sources is about 620 MRMs, whatevers. And it says a total of 223 user reviews on the popular hiking app AllTrails currently gives the Acid Canyon Trail a score of 4.3 out of 5.
Okay, first of all, there's an app for hiking.
Yeah.
Called AllTrails.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like
that's kind of unnecessary to find. Okay.
Whatever.
The 4.3 out of 5. Sorry, I think the fact that it has that much radiation contamination, that automatically dips it down to a 1.
Well, even the thing in the way that this was written, sort of downplayed it there at the end. Just because the area is pretty does not mean that it's safe.
Well, this one that says awesome trail, one cyclist reported this past April, the trail is in good shape with no problems.
That was
the trees are glowing.
Wonder if they had told them about the exposure to radiation, if they would have still felt the same way.
Right.
I mean, this is ridiculous, but also it's one of those to sit there and go, okay, we've nuclear explosion, let's just dump this in the water.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they're just like, let's dump it in the water. It'll be fine. Nature will clean it up. No, it won't. It can't.
It mutates stuff.
Yes.
And it's just like the tiny town near us had a plant that they produced pool chemicals. And
loves that.
In the process, they used mercury.
Oh.
And so mercury is highly toxic. And that the ash and stuff from it, they called it muck. And so what did they do? They just had it. It's called the muck dam. Everybody in the area knows it. And it's a fenced off area now. Now
it's a fenced off area?
Yeah. Yeah. But as far as within that certain section, people that lived near and around that had it was not unusual at all for them to develop cancers.
Shit.
And it was well known that you did not, as far as the river and stuff like that, you did not eat fish that came out of the river until, a certain point. EPA came in years ago and they're like, oh, everything's fine.
It's poisoning people.
Well, yeah. And they did make some kind of an effort to clean some of that stuff up. Now, do we really think that they did that thoroughly? Do we really think that they gave the people the local people that were cleaning the stuff up, the appropriate protective equipment to prevent them from being contaminated? Hell no. And then they're like, oh, everything's good, but I noticed none of them moved here.
Right. They never do.
So this is just one more of the things, and it's like, I don't know whether these people who were doing the, the atomic bombs, the nuclear bombs, all this bunch of shit that hurts lots and lots of peoples, I don't know that they really understood thoroughly what would happen. I don't. And they did it anyhow.
This is what happens when idiots that don't know what they're doing is playing with stuff that they don't know what it does.
Well, I think it's just one of those that a lot of this stuff, they're using other people as test subjects. They're using the environment as test subjects. And it's like, no, until you know what a thing does, and how, if it's got any kind of residue that goes along with it, how to clean up after that residue. Until you figure all that shit out, leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's true of these battery-powered things. Because I had read a story yesterday that at some factory or whatever it was, one of these sections of these cars caught fire. They can't even put those lithium batteries out through normal means.
No.
They can't.
No.
And that the fumes from that stuff, they had to evacuate the area because that stuff is so noxious.
Mm-hmm. Full on hazmat suit time.
And it's just one of those that, no. Until you know how to deal with all this stuff from every angle, leave it alone. Some things you can learn as you go, but some things learning as you go has a really high price, and it's usually not paid by the people that are doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
usually not.
That could almost go amongst idiots amongst us, but I don't think so. I don't think these people are stupid. I think they're just reckless.
Yeah. Incredibly reckless.
Yeah, with other people's lives. Final thoughts, kid.
I don't know. I think reckless is a light way of putting it, but putting on something that radioactive. Yeah, it's fine. That's kind of like the time that they put uranium in the dishware.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or those ladies that what was it that they were using to paint the hands of that it glowed?
It was a type of uranium.
On the
like
watch
that.
Hands, and that they had died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. It's, if you don't know what it does or how it's going to affect the body, don't use it.
Leave it alone. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely true.
I'm tired of banging heads against the wall.
Uh-huh. Totally, completely. I think everybody's weary at this point.
Hit head on table.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's tiring.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you've had experiences with paranormal and supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, tinfoil hats, which, damn, they just turn it into regular hats at this point.
Pretty much.
Because all that stuff was psyops anyhow. To sit there and go, oh, they're just crazy. Are we? Are we? There's been a lot of stuff that has been proven to be so.
Right. Who's the crazy one now?
Right. The ones that are in denial. There's a lot of people in denial.
And it's apparent. You can see it.
Sure. But there's a lot of people, honest to God, they're so brainwashed they can't. That's what's sad. Anyhow, email is cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and that's there in the description box. I'll put the link to the article in there as well.
Mm-hmm. If you like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, share it. Check her out on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube at Werlanda's Cup of Coffee with Scream. Also check her out on X, previously known as Twitter, Werlanda, COCWS.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a good.
Yeah, it's quality interactions. If you're selective, if you use discernment, you can have some quality interactions on these different things.
Yeah.
Know that you are loved. Treat other people the way that you would like to be treated. And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup. Bye.
Bye.